Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Back again. Another Miami Hurricanes transfer portal commitment. This one coming from Tulane tight end Alex Bauman. And I spent a little bit of Friday night and now Saturday morning going back and watching this kid as I kind of heard the buzz about him to Miami. I'll tell you what, I think this makes a lot of sense for Miami. I think first and foremost, you wanted more bodies in the tight end room, right? Elijah Royal going to the NFL draft. Riley Williams hitting the transfer portal. You land a guy like Alex Bauman, and to me, it allows you to be really creative with a guy like Elijah Lofton. I think there's a strong argument that Elijah Lofton is going to be one of the best playmakers on this Miami Hurricanes offense in 2025, and you probably didn't want to pigeonhole him to being a traditional inline tight end. You want to get creative with him. You want to split him out wide. You want to put him in the backfield. Landing a guy like Alex Bauman allows you to do that. And you look at Alex Bauman, I don't think he's the freaky matchup nightmare that Elijah Arroyo was. And quite frankly, there's just not many of those that exist in college football. Elijah Arroyo is kind of 1-1 at the tight end spot. But what he is a very good traditional inline tight end, which it sounds plain and simple. But at the end of the day, in the sport of college football, it's hard to find these kind of tight ends because you look at a lot of tight ends that are coming out of high school, they're just big bodied wide receivers that have to put on a lot of weight and kind of learn how to manage themselves all along the lines of scrimmage. You look at Alex Bauman and say, well, he was recruited out of high school to play on the defensive line. He's very familiar with what it means to be dominant at the point of attack. And although PFF does not grade him very well in the run blocking department, I would massively disagree with that evaluation. You dive into some of his film. We're going to pull up some clips in just a second. Alex Bauman can get it done in a couple of different ways. One, they were extremely creative in terms of how they used him in Tulane. They have him be an H-back. They split him out wide. They put him in line as a traditional tight end. They'd also ask him to block on the perimeter really well. And that was something I thought Alex Bauman really excelled at. And so you kind of get that, I'd almost say Cam McCormick replacement, that really good inline blocking tight end that gives you a little bit of juice as a pass catcher too. Now, Alex Bowman's probably not going to be a guy that catches for over 600 yards for Miami in 2025, but he's really damn good in the red zone. And that's one of the things that's most important about being a tight end. When are tight ends the most impactful on a football game? When you're inside the 20, when the throwing windows are a little bit smaller, having tight ends that can go up and make it happen in the red zone, that matters. Scoring touchdowns matter. Alex Bauman, 13 touchdown catches the last 2 years. That's where he does his damage as a red zone passing target as well. Makes a lot of sense. I want to get into a little bit of Alex Bauman, talk about what he brings to Miami, talk about what this tight end room is going to look like in 2025. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the Miami Hurricane fans, been a blast. And the amount of support y'all have shown the boys over the last couple of weeks as we've had a laundry list of discussions such as the quarterback spot, breaking down commitments. Cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Alex Bauman. And again, I want to start with kind of how Tulane used him. It's hard to find traditional inline blocking tight ends. 440 snaps with Alex Bauman came as an inline tight end. You know this kid knows how to handle himself along the line of scrimmage. Now, why is that important? One, because having tight ends that can block, that's important for any offense, but specifically for Miami in 2025. Look, regardless of who's playing quarterback for Miami in the 2025 year, it's hard to see this offense not being dominant running the football. Not only with what they have on the offensive line, but what they have returning in the running back room with Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle. That's going to be the identity of Miami in the 2025 season. If you want to run the football a lot, you damn well better be getting tight ends that can operate as run blockers. I think that's what Alex Bauman can do. Now, you look at him as a pass catcher, it's not freaky, but he's kind of a crafty tight end, and that matters. You know, when you're working the middle of the field, can you sit it down in zone coverage? Can you create some separation in man coverage? Alex Bauman can do those things. And so he gives you some pass catching juice that probably Cam McCormick did not bring you in 2024, but he also gives you a tight end that can block well in a lot of different scenarios. And you kind of pull up some of the film. I think it starts with, what he does on the perimeter. which again, Miami's probably going to be working some of the quick game in 2025, getting the ball to playmakers like JoJo Trader, like Ray Joseph in space. You got to have tight ends who can block. Alex Bauman split out wide as a slot wide receiver. You run this clip here. I mean, he's very comfortable blocking in space. And when he gets hands on you can tell this guy was a defensive lineman coming out of high school because he's very good when he puts hands on guys at the second level, coming in hands on, and he can't get away. Good feet, good hand placement. That's what you want it to look like. Alex Bauman can do it. And you can tell he takes a lot of pride in blocking on the perimeter too, which is important. Not a lot of tight ends do so. And then you take a look at how they use him in line or as an H-back. They're going to motion him in to the box here. Now, this is not going to be a touchdown run, I think, largely because of the running back. But Alex Bauman as a lead blocker here, almost like a fullback, and he's going to put somebody in the dirt right there. I mean, Alex Bauman, PFF tells me he's not a good run blocker. I look at the film and say, I think he's a damn good run blocker. And that's probably why Mario Cristobal wanted a guy like Alex Bauman out of the transfer portal. Now, again, I think one of the biggest storylines for this commitment is now you have your traditional inline tight end that can give you some juice as a pass catcher, but is going to be really good as a run blocker as well. That allows you to get super creative with Elijah Lofton. Heading into the season, if Miami did not land a tight end, you're looking at Elijah Lofton and a couple of true freshmen. Now, the true freshmen I think can be good, but the tight end position is not a position where you want to rely on true freshmen because it's a really hard position to come in and play right away. You got to be a good inline blocker. You have to know you got to know a lot of different things about the offense because you got to know pass protection. You got to know run blocking. You got to know your routes in the route tree as well. It's hard to get on the football field a lot as a true freshman. Bringing in Alex Bauman gives you that traditional inline tight end while also allowing you to use Elijah Lofton in a lot of different ways. And now this allows you to maximize a guy like Elijah Lofton, who I think can be an absolute who really was a stud for Miami in 2024, might be the best offensive weapon Miami has in 2025. And that's saying something with guys like CJ Daniels, JoJo Trader, Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle. This is not a flashy commitment, but I think it's a dang good one for the Miami Hurricanes. Excited. I guess one other note I'd make, I always look at snap count, especially for positions like tight ends. Like, hey, do they want you on the football field? Because it's very easy for college football offense say, we're just going to play with 4 wide receivers and 1 running back and just take our tight end off the field. You're seeing a lot of teams do that because they don't have good tight ends. Alex Bauman played 600 snaps in 2024, played 700 snaps in 2023. This was a guy that stayed on the football field pretty much every single snap for Tulane, and that tells me that this coaching staff valued what Alex Bauman can do. The receiving numbers are not going to pop out on the screen for you, but I think he's a guy that can provide a lot of value for Miami at the tight end position. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it again. All the support means the world. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.